and I hope you are having a lovely start to your day so far. My name is Lawrence Umoette, and the time is 10:07. Welcome to Inside once again on a beautiful Thursday morning. Yes, on Inside today, we are staying with the conversation leading up to the International Day of the African Child, which in fact is actually tomorrow, Friday the 16th of June. And the theme for this year is right to participate. Let children be seen and heard. So that's what we are going to look at. Inside, we normally don't come on air tomorrow, so that's why we are taking a look at the program update issue today. For starters, the International Day of the African Child has been celebrated on June the 16th every year since 1991, when it was first initiated by the Organization of African Unity. It honors those who participated in the Soweto uprising in 1976 on that day. I'm sure a lot of us are aware of that incident. It also raises awareness of the continued need for improvement of the education provided to African children. In Soweto, South Africa, on June the 16th, 1976, about 10,000 black school children marched in a column more than half a mile long, protesting the poor quality of their education and demanding their rights to be taught in their own language. Hundreds of young students were shot, the most famous of which being Hector Peterson. Sadly, more than 100 people were killed in that protest, following 2 weeks, and more than 1,000 were injured. On June 16 every year, governments across the world, NGOs, international organizations, and other stakeholders gather to discuss the challenges and opportunities facing the full realization of the rights of children in Africa. So that's how it's going to be. And my guest is already seated. I'm sure we are really going to enjoy her. Lois Adiromoshe. Oh, Adiromoshe. Oh, Adiromoshe.
Yes, Adiromoshe is my name.
Yes, Adiromoshe. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on this side. It's good to have you again.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me
this
morning.
Lois is a gender-based and mental health advocate. She's also a kids and teenagers coach.
Yes.
It's not easy dealing with this beautiful set of people.
It's not.
It takes a lot of patience,
yes,
a lot of understanding.
It does. But if you're passionate about them and all of that, it would not be too difficult, So that's just it. If you're working with kids and teenagers, if you're passionate, you love them, they especially kids of these days, the way they behave, sometimes they can behave in such a way and you'll be wondering, are you still a child?
And they're a lot smarter.
Yes, they're a lot smarter. But then, passion keeps us there, and they need a lot of coaching, especially in the times we're in.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm saddened by the fact that people who deal with this set of people are not given a pride of place in our society. I'm talking about teachers. I'm talking about those who care for children that age.
That's true.
Because it takes more than it takes more than knowledge. It takes more than intelligence to deal with this set of people.
Yes.
And for me, they are the ones that should be earning so much. But then you said passion. Passion keeps you there. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
Yes, it is.
Let's look at this year's theme: right to participate.
Yeah.
Let children be seen and heard. Now, when I saw this, I was thinking to myself, how do we reconcile this with our highly conservative society, where we think children cannot even be seen or even be heard at all? These issues are not popular where in this part of the world.
Yeah. It's very true, and I made it a point of duty to amplify the voices of children, and that's because a lot of children these days are speaking, but because they seem small, the things they are saying, a lot of people don't want to listen to them. So we're saying that there's a right to participate. It is important that they are involved. You have an you want to do a program, you want to do a project. You are not inviting school children to come and participate, to come and listen, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. It's whatever you give to them that they give out to other people. If they don't have anything to give out to other people, then there is a problem. So, and the things that are affecting them, not you. So they are in the best place to say what is actually on their mind, and a lot of they're not giving them opportunity to talk, and that is a problem for me. And that's why I make it as a point of duty that every Children's Day, International Day of the African Child, and all of that, I come out to speak for them, on certain issues, especially the right to participate. They can also speak. It's important that we listen to what they have to say. There are some kids that are going through a lot of things, a whole lot of things. Is when you now come close to them and ask what is going on. You even have to ask them more than 2 times before they are now able to say okay, because they have not given them. Yes, and they need to trust you. And this is because nobody has even given them ability to participate. Okay, come and sit down here. Come and say this. The Children's Parliament, what's going on there? Come and hear what, is going on. What do you have to say about this? Because nobody is asking them those questions. They have inferiority complex, and they just relegate themselves into a box. Even when you try to ask them, they have to trust you because they know that they can be in harm's way. They are little children, they can't fight for themselves. So if their parents are not also there to fight for them, talking about the orphans, talking about some persons with disability, then you just see that they will just relegate themselves to the back. So it's a serious issue.
Yes, let's listen to you. Before we even get to some other external issues, challenges in the government and everything, let's start from the family. The family structure. Yeah. Does it matter? Does it help? Does it affect? How does it affect the child psychologically? Parenting, because these days the father and the mom is working. Most times we delegate that duty to a house help or a caregiver and stuff like that. You are with children.
Yes.
Let us understand, how does it work?
The role of the parents can never be taken away, no matter what. Either replaced by a nanny or replaced by, uncles or aunties or grandparents, can never be taken away. I was saying this when we're talking about the girl that they bullied some times ago and all of that. The boy that was bullied, rather, some times ago and all of that. It is important that parents are there. I know that now there are a lot of responsibilities, but every child, there's a Yoruba adage that talks about that if you don't train the child from inside the house, people will train the child outside there. And the way they will train the child for you outside there, you would not like it. So we keep telling parents that if you don't tell them what is right for them to know, the world will tell them what is not right for them to know, and they would embrace it because those are the people that are giving them audience. So it's important that even when there's a friend of mine that her parents are always working, but she says that her mom makes it at the point of duty that when she's coming down from the staircase, as she's doing her makeup in the room, she makes her sit by her. Okay, so what's going on in school? Are you okay? So just me, what did your teacher do? This and that, Okay, no, that's not how to do it. This is what to do. Her mom is very busy, but her mom will always make time. Come and sit here with me. And what's going on? What is this? What is that? But some parents, when they come back from work, they are exhausted. And instead of them to take some time out to also speak with their children, help to boost their inferiority complex, because that is very important. They don't do that. And at the end of the day, you see that the children are going wayward. You begin to wonder, why is the child behaving like this? And the problem with that is that it doesn't stop there. As that child is going to school, the child is also influencing other children to behave like that. And that's the reason why you don't see one bully. You see a team of children that are bullying other children, because one will start it up, and it comes from what the parent says to their children, what the nanny says to that, what the guardian is saying to that child. You are useless, you are this, you are that. You begin to hear these children repeating the same thing in their school, in their environment, in the school bus. You are useless, you don't do this, you don't do that. They form a team of bullying, and they begin to act like that. And you see them when they grow, they become thugs. It started from the home. It started from the things that they were hearing from their house. The violence, they call it emotional violence. They have been receiving that emotional and psychological violence from the home, and that's the reason why that is what they give, what they have taken in is what they are now projecting.
All right, if you're just joining us, it's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and we are taking a look at the Day of the African Child, which is actually for tomorrow, but we are looking at it, doing a preview of what the day is. And my guest is in the house. She's a gender-based mental health advocate, Lois Aderomoshe, and she's also a kids and teenagers coach, making us understand what it means to celebrate the Day of the African Child. You can join our discussion on YouTube by joining our live stream on YouTube. Type in Citizen FM 93.7 and you will be part of the show from anywhere in the world. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng, and also our social media platforms are there. On Facebook, you can join us at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. At 10:30, we will open the phone lines, but for now, let's keep the discussion going. Let's look at some other issues. Every year, we come up with a theme for the celebration. Now, this year, how do we use this occasion to x-ray the myriads of problems facing the African child? There are so many of them, but how do we use this theme to generally tackle those problems?
I would say that now that we're talking about looking at the perspectives of children, that would now help them speak for themselves.
Okay.
That will now help the children.
Give them some form of confidence.
Yes, talk about the factors that are actually affecting them in Nigeria. It's not that they don't know these things. They know it. I was speaking to one of the girls, at the school, and I was asking her, it was even at the club, because I have a club, Good Tides Philippine Missions Foundation, and I was asking her, what are the things that you feel that if they change these things, it can help this? And she was talking about education. She was talking about the poverty level. She was talking about her parents' inability to be able to, pay her school fees, and now there's full scarcity, and she now has to. They now have to pay double of the transport fare going to school and all of that. She was just speaking, and she was angry and tired because now she has to trek a mile before taking a bike to school and all of that. And even if she's even going to a government school, so she's just paying PTA for 3,000 naira, but her transport is now up to 1,000 naira. So that is, it's heartbreaking. She was saying it the other day, and I'm like, okay, so you know what is actually affecting, and they can actually say that this is what is affecting this. This is what's going on. When it comes to harmful traditional practices like breast ironing, a girl told me, she told her friend, actually, her friend told me that her mother did that to her in this present day and age, using something to hit a child's breast so that she doesn't grow quickly or something. So they know these factors are affecting them, and I'm happy that we're now looking at the children and we're saying, okay, it's time for you to now take the front row and speak for yourself, because other people have been speaking for you. They have been amplifying your voice to the world, but it's now time for you to now say, okay, this is what I want, and this is what is really affecting me. It comes to, we go down to female genital mutilation. Over 200 million children are living with the consequence of female genital mutilation in over 29 countries. 10% of that 200 million are 20 million. I'm talking from UNFPA, website. 20 million are living with consequences of female genital mutilation in Nigeria. So you can see, and we have a risk factor of, I think, 14 point something million from now till 2030. And people will say, what's going on? This thing has ended now, but it's still happening among us, and it's affecting the children. It's affecting, even while you grow up as a mother, you're seeing this thing affecting you, but you still want to do it to your child. We have had children running away from home that, okay, because I don't want you to do these things to me, the child will run away from home that, because I don't want this, I want to run away. After running away, if you bring that child up and say, okay, come and speak, what is wrong with you? The child will be like, okay, this is what is going on with me, and I'm fed up. So I'm happy that we are actually putting the children in the front row and saying that, okay, these are the things that are affecting you. How do you want it to stop, and what do you want to do? So it's a way of giving them a right to speak.
Yeah, listening to you, some of these practices to maybe tactically endorsed by religion, customs, tradition.
Yes.
One of them is child marriage, early
Yes.
child marriage, and everything. How do we navigate this? You know, when it comes to issue of tradition and religion, it's a very sensitive issue in this part of the world. So how do we navigate it to make us get why we don't look as if we are frontally attacking this religion and everything and get positive result at the end of the day?
Okay, so I'm a member of the Global Media Campaign to End FGM in Nigeria, and we've been carrying out sensitizations and outreaches about this. I've been to Ekiti, in your community in particular, to create awareness about this, and we know quite all right that there are religious beliefs to these things, there are cultural beliefs to it, especially when we come to female genital mutilation. And when you speak to doctors, when you speak to imam, they'll tell you that people just develop doctrines. It's not as if it is written in the Bible that this is what should be done. This circumcision that Moses was talking about was integrating people into the body of Christ for the not just cutting off the skin of women. And when you look at it, for the male, they have advantages. They have advantages to these things, reduces penile cancer and all of that. But for the female, it doesn't do any health benefit. When it comes to culture, they will tell you reduces promiscuity and all of that. But we can see that at the end of the day, these girls are now becoming sex workers, because now they are going to the streets looking for satisfaction for the things that you actually cut them off from doing. So what we do is we do not condemn them, because those are the beliefs they've had so far, but we take this awareness to them and we tell them that these things you are doing is not the right thing to do. Can you see the consequences of these things you are doing? We have seen a lot of people having miscarriages due to female genital mutilation. We have seen a lot of people dying due to female genital mutilation. Faten Hassan Ahmed died due to female. She was caught. She peeled out the scars after like 2 days, and she started bleeding, and that was how she bled to death. So we have brought out consequences about these things, unable to give birth. We have seen a lot of issues, so we try to bring it to the table and consequences. That's how terrible FGM can be. So we try to tell them that this is what it is, and we really need you to stop doing these things, because if we don't stop, then it will keep affecting us. And one of the things that I would say, because we as NGOs, we cannot do it alone. We also need the government to help us, and that goes to implementation of some of the VAP Act. We have it now. A lot of states have signed it into bill, but we need these states to begin to implement it. We need the judiciaries to help push for these things. Let them not bring a case of female genital mutilation to the police station and you'll be like, oh, this what happened? Okay. Just go and sit down, or pay a fine of 50,000 naira and let him go. Let's not do that. If you know, and I like the fact that we have gender decks now in the police stations and in some of all these places, so that if a case arises on these things, look at rape, look at all of these things going on. We have if there are gender decks. I know it's not in all police stations, but we need it to be in all police stations, so that at least our judiciaries can help. If we have one person that has done this thing and he sees the ripple effect of doing these things that he has done, then every other person would stop.
So you talked about sensitization.
Yes.
Over the years in your practice in reaching out to people, what has been the reception from the opinion leaders, traditional political leaders, these people that you go to for advocacy? How have they been receptive of this advocacy?
Okay, for some they have accepted it well. Why for some they kick against it? And I come from a place of understanding, because that is what their parents have given to them. That's like the practice that their generations have been passing down from generation to generation. So that is what. In fact, somebody even told me and said, "So you have not been caught. That means your parents do not know the tradition, and some of these things." So it comes from a place of lack of knowledge, if I may place it, use those words. It comes from that place of I did not know that this particular thing is wrong. So now as advocates, we have to now know that these people do not know that this thing is wrong. How do we now table it to them to make them understand that this is what happened and this is what happened? So what we do is sometimes we get victims, which we call survivors, to talk to them about it and tell them that this particular thing, this is what I've suffered personally personally from this particular act. And if we keep there was a case of a king. He ran away with his daughter in Lagos. Well, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. It was on the internet
to prevent
it from happening, because he saw what happened to his first child, I think, and so he took the second child. And a lot of kings came and they were, saying that he has to bring that child, and rained a lot of threats. But he has seen the effects. He has seen, in fact, a friend's mom personally told me, say, that is the reason why we are not enjoying our marriages. That is the reason why, we don't have the more than the because she has just one child. We don't have more than the amount of children that we really want to have, because they go through a lot to give birth. And this female genital mutilation is not just one type. We have clitoridectomy. That's like, the cutting of just the clitoris. We have excision, cutting of the clitoris and the labia minora. We have infibulation, when you sew down the vagina orifice itself. Then we have the last one, which is the different types that people do in their different communities. They insert herbs, they do different things. So it's horrible. It's really horrible. So when we try to talk to them about this thing you're doing is wrong, and you need to stop it, because it doesn't have any effect. It doesn't help her in any way. You say you want to cope her sexuality, but then you are causing more harm, because if you cut her from getting satisfaction, she will be looking for more satisfaction. So you are doing the opposite of what you say you want to do. So it is important that you stop it, so that at the end of the day they can have their own lives, and there are different ways to cope a girl. There are different ways to cope a girl. You can educate her. You talk to her, okay, if you do this is what will happen. Look at other people and their consequences. Do you see that girl? See what is going on with her. She's 13 years old. She has a child now. She has to fend for herself and her child.
And she'll be out of school.
She'll be out of school, and all of that, because definitely if she doesn't have money to take care of her child, she probably will not have money to put herself in school. And let them see the consequences of these things that you are doing. Speak to them, educate them. And when I'm talking about educating, I'm not saying, drag them, do vigorous discipline and all of that, because once you do that, they will feel like it's a normal thing you have been flogging them for. So that's the reason why they would not. Exactly. So I also have a book titled Tolani Nirara. In fact, the part 2 of the book will be out soon. We go out to different communities and we distribute it to people. It's the case of Tolani and how she was brave, and she insisted that she would not be caught, and she was not caught. So we have the Tolani saving Zara in the part 2, and it will soon be. It's also strategies to make girls, understand that this should not happen to them, and to make parents too understand that please don't do this to our girls.
All right, it's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and we are still discussing the Day of the African Child. Insight will return in a moment after this break. Please don't go away.
93.7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than...
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Citizen FM Abuja. Citizen FM.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Citizen FM Abuja. Citizen FM Abuja. Citizen FM Abuja. Citizen FM.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Insights on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoette. It's 10:34 a.m. and we are into the second half of the show. The phone lines are open now. You can call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or you can call us on 0818 2222206. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on any of the numbers, and we will be glad to read out your message. Just let us know where you are writing in from. My guest is still in the house. Lois Aderomoshe. She is a gender-based mental health advocate. Thank you so much for making sense of this issue, the Day of the African Child.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm so glad to be here.
All right. You can join us on live stream on YouTube by typing in Citizen FM 937, and you will be part of the show. Not forgetting our social media platforms on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. And also you can listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. You can be part of the show. So what are we talking about? The Day of the African Child, and it's always a very interesting issue to look at. So let's look at one issue that I'm sure it's worrying to you because of your closeness to this kids. It's the out of school phenomenon. Over the years, there's been a lot of policies, a lot of policy statements, a lot of laws and everything, but it does look as if we make a step forward today, tomorrow we get back to that. How bad is the situation?
Okay, so the situation around and all of that to the school, because when you get to school, the seats are not enough. So when you think about that, plus parents now, they want their children to help them to sell. That's child labor, to sell and to do some more of all these things. So at the end of the day, you see that the children are just on the streets, either hawking or doing one thing or the other. So I would speak to parents, and I also speak to the government about this issue. Now, the children are the leaders of tomorrow, and if you want your child to bring you out of that poverty state that you are, because it's a serious matter. 3,000 naira is too much for some parents. 3,000 naira, I think for primary is 1,000 naira or so. Then that's like their PTA. So it's important that your child goes to school. If you say education is expensive, try ignorance. That's what people say. So it's important that if you didn't go to school, allow your children to go to school, because by going to school, your children can bring you out of that poverty stage that you are into transformation. You don't know what the future of this child holds. That's to the parents. Telling them not to come
that we balance the act. We get quality education.
Yes.
We also make it possible for people who are not that endowed in terms of finance to also send their children to school. All students of the schools can help out, and also a lot of companies can also increase their CSR, and faith-based organizations can also reach out.
Yes.
There's so many things as a society that we need to do, as long as there's accountability, because I know that most of the time people hold back from helping because they feel that any contribution they make will be embezzled without any form of accountability and stuff.
It's because some people are actually doing that embezzlement, and those people really need to stop because they are spoiling the opportunities of other people. When I come and I say I want to sponsor 6 children, and you sponsor 2 and take the remaining 2, the remaining 4, the money for the 4 because you think I will not probably come and check, then that is bad. That's corruption. If I come back and I say we are the student, they just list out some names of children that have probably paid by themselves, and you took back the remaining amount of money that is supposed to be funding children that really do not have, then there's a problem with you. Then you are the corruption and you need to be cut off.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the lines are still open and we have like about 10 minutes to wrap it up. You can call us on 0903 822 22205 or you can call us on 0818 222 We are talking about the Day of the African Child. What exactly is happening? Let's stay with the challenges. You've spoken a lot about some of them.
There's one I want to talk about.
Okay. Maybe you start with that before we come to the ones I have.
Okay, discriminations among children with disability.
Exactly. That was as if you read my mind. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so this is a problem for me because I attended did the conference and everything about women with disability and all. And while they were reporting, I was sitting by the side of a reporter, and she said, I think 1 in how many? In 10 do not go to school because they are persons with disability. So I asked her why, because that percentage is too low. So I asked her why. She said the reason is because the schools are expensive. We have a few people that understand sign languages. We have a few people that can actually, do some of these things. And I'm like, okay, let me just think about it. Looking at it, I think I just know 1 school for the handicapped in Kuje. Then I know 1 school. Okay, maybe there's another one, outside Abuja. There's one in the school for the blind in Jabi and all of that. So it is important that, we have more of these schools in different places. Now, we're not just speaking for Abuja alone. We're speaking for Nigeria as a whole. We're speaking for Africa as a whole. We need, more schools for these children. I was with somebody and we're trying to raise funds for a child because the child had cerebral palsy. He's very smart. Very, very smart. I think his essay, or I've forgotten his name. He's very smart, but his mother was trying to raise funds so that a child can go to school, and that is a problem because some of these schools you have to pay so much money to be in them, and in the government schools they're just quite few. So I would really say that we need private organizations too that can start up these things. I've heard of a few. In fact, I was at a program where they even did I've forgotten the name of the school. They did a movie screening and some children with autism and all of that came up to act the movie, and it was really beautiful. So we need more of those things that can cheer them up, because on their own they're already feeling like, some of these kids are already feeling like, oh, I'm a person with disability, now let me just relegate myself to the back. Since even the children that talking about those with visual impairment, they'll say, since the children that can see, they have not even listened to them. Is it a child like me that would now, so a lot of children just relegate themselves to the back, especially those with disability. And from the Child Rights Act, we can see, I think in part 2, section 10 talks about freedom from discrimination. Freedom from discrimination. So it's
unless we carry that even to the bigger society. This set of young boys and girls that we discriminate, when they now even grow up, the discrimination continues.
Yes.
During employment,
during marriage. Look at you. I'm even managing to marry you because you're a cripple. They say some of these things, and it is really wrong, because those people also have mental health. You are, let me not say you are complete. You have all you have, and you still feel inferior when you have some other people doing better than you. So you can now imagine someone that has, impairments in one way or the other, how that person is feeling. So I want to also encourage those that are, are persons with disability, that they should not look at those people trying to insult them or looking at those people that tries to talk them down. It is important that you just develop yourself confidence and go to school, explore the world, do all the things you feel you can do, because there are people like us that are cheering you up, and we want to see that you also be the best.
Okay, you see, there's another one that exists, although a lot of time we pretend about it, we don't want to talk about it, even in the family, and that's gender inequality.
Yes.
Very, very rampant in Israel. You find people say, okay, I'd rather send my male child to
preferential treatment
to school. The female one is going to be married off.
Yes.
What's the point wasting money and all that?
Okay, so looking at statistics, because I wrote some of these things down. In the Northeast, we have 41% of eligible girls receiving primary education. In the Northwest, we have 47% receiving primary education, and that is very low. And that is because some people, I don't know why culture is so difficult.
Is it really culture, or people are just, I don't know?
I think it comes from a place of culture, because that still brings us back to child's marriage. Because they feel like, okay, I've trained you in primary school, you're going to get married, it's not my responsibility anymore. You are not the one that is going to fend for your family. It is the man that will fend for the family.
Or is it poverty?
I don't think it's poverty. I think it's the mindset.
Because the elite in some of these societies that you're quoting this data from, they don't do this. They send their children to school.
Some don't. Some see it as a cultural thing, so they don't send their children to school. You hear of a big Alaji saying that his daughter would not go to school. What are we even saying? I know somebody that refused to train his child. This case is still with me up till now. He's a pastor. He refused to train his child. He's educated. He refused to train his child, and he's saying that because she's a girl child, that he's just wasting his money. So what he does is, if he gives birth to a girl child, he sends the child home to his grandmother. So the grandmother will now buy banana and give the girl to sell. That is her duty. And then I think he got married to another woman that gave birth to these 3 children that their kids, came to me. The woman now said, it's a lie. I will take care of my children by myself. So she is the one that's picked up the duty to take care of her children by herself. So it's the woman that is taking care of her children. So it's not about how educated you are. I think this culture has really entered into the mindset of people that they cannot even detach themselves from it. They believe that if my father did this, if my mother did it, that means it's something that should be done. And why should I be wasting my money on somebody that is supposed to be another man's property? So they see their own daughter as another man's property. So I cannot educate somebody that is going to leave my name. That's what they say. Leave my name. It's not going to bear my son name anymore. It's going to be bearing the son name of the person that she would get married to. So you can see the idea behind all of that rubbish, because I'll call it rubbish. So that's the idea that some of them have, and it has crippled their mind, and it's not allowing them to actually see that the girl child can be more than what they think they are. You see, yeah. Okay,
look, we are gradually running out of time. We have about 3 minutes to wrap this up. Before we do that, let's also look at violence and conflicts. Most of the time, when there is social disruptions in the society, the women and children are always the casualties. Now, from your interaction with this set of very beautiful people, what have you learned over the years about the effect of violence and maybe disruptions, or family disruptions also? Maybe the mother and the father are no longer together and all this. And how does it affect that child? Okay, so I'll talk from the place of people, the IDP people. That's the internally displaced people, because I've had some interactions with them and I go for outreaches there. So you get to see that the woman is running. I'm saying this with no sense of partiality or because I advocate for women or all of that. You see that the man is trying to run away, but the woman is trying to hold her child and run with her child. There was a day I was interacting with one of the women at in one of the IDPs, and she was saying that she and her child, they ran away, and that as they ran away, the child was even sleeping. She slept close to a snake. But thank God that the snake, because they didn't even know where they were. She's from Adamawa State. They brought them to Abuja here. So she was talking about how she was, fending for her child even in the bush, how she was looking for vegetables and something to help to give to her child, make sure that her child eats and everything. But for some men, I would say that some of them can be very, very selfish.
So they just okay, there's war, let's run. So they run away, and at the end of the day, you see that they will find a safe haven for themselves. And I would say kudos to those men that would want to also say, okay, you run away with my child, don't worry, I'll hold forth. You know, I've seen that in some movies, but I've not seen that real life. You know, but then, you know, there are some men like that that would want to hold forth for their families. But I would say that it affects mostly the women. And you can imagine a pregnant woman trying to run away from conflict. It's difficult. You can see a woman backing her child, running away from conflict is difficult. So that's the reason why we say that it is important that we as both genders come together to work together. If you're getting married, make sure that person is truly your partner. That even when things are difficult, that person is with you, because war is a difficult time, not just to you as an individual, but to everybody. So it's important that, you know, you are partners and you can work together and achieve, you know, your goal.
All right. So as we wrap it up, your final words as we close on this.
Okay. So I wrote this down and I will just read it. Your Excellency, the children of Nigeria will continue to look up to you and your administration for our growth and development of our dear country at large. Thank you for listening.
And thank you so much. It was really a very
insightful time. Since it's insightful time.
An interesting one.
Thank you.
And we hope that next year, when we talk about the Day of the African Child, we will not also be repeating a lot of these challenges again. Maybe we'll move from here. So thank you so much
You're welcome,
for your intervention. It's been so nice having you on Insight. And one of these days again, when there are issues to come, we may have to look out for you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
And so that's our package on Insight today. The program returns on Monday with another edition. My name is Lawrence Umoette. Enjoy the rest of your day.